here we are, getting ready to do the next project. This is the emergency pull brake for this thing. As you can see, it's all rusted up. It hasn't been uncoiled in years. In fact, the guy I bought it from said he never used it. Well, I don't doubt it since the ground wire is no good and other things. I'm going to replace it with a brand new one. One thing I don't like is how those cables don't really work real good for attachment. I've never figured out why they don't put a better system on it. So I bought a better system. The zip breakaway cable. This way I can take the carabiner, attach it right to one of the eye hooks where my chains go to, and I'm good. I also had one more thing I was going to show you today. But here we are in the Great Pacific Northwest, middle of March, and it's snowing. I was going to pull the trailer out of the shop and remove the air conditioning unit so I could start working on the roof and show you how to do that, but we're getting snow in the middle of March. Last year it happened as late as April, so who knows. It is what it is, I guess. But we'll work with it. So, not a hard process to look at this brake, but when you're buying these things, this thing's important because if for some reason this thing were to come disconnected or something like that, and it is possible, people make mistakes. They are known to come off the balls when they don't flip that right, or even if it breaks in rare conditions. It'll come right off. This will pull, set the brake. All right? Or sometimes people will forget to detach them or set the chocks or something. Anyway, whatever it is, these are important to have. That's why they're there, and we're going to fix this one and put a brand new one on there and rewire it. Okay, pretty simple at this point. As you can see, there's two wires. Woo, they're long. Good thing, too. Because what we're going to do now is one's going to go to this cable which is hooked into the brakes, and then one's going to be run to the battery. Now, in most cases, you'll see these with the battery sitting here next to the propane tank. I'm going to make a modification. I've already got the stuff to do it with, where I'm going to use what's called an AGM battery. Now, they're more expensive, but they're non-vented, which means when I'm all said and done, it'll actually go inside here. I'm doing that for two reasons. One, I want 2 propane bottles for when I'm boondocking. And 2, I don't want my battery stolen. Ain't cheap. So that's going to be put up in here. So that part will take place then, but this part's pretty simple, the rest of it. All I'm going to do is cut this and splice this with the same kind of connectors you saw me use a little bit ago. Now, when you're doing this, as you can see, what happened to the cable? It's right here in my hand. The instructions for replacing it with this say to pull this out. Now, I don't think it's 100% necessary because all you're going to do is cut this and put the ring on. But I think they say that so you won't mess things up. That's something I can figure. But I've done it as the instructions said. I've taken it off. I'll be cutting this off, and I'm going to put the O-ring on. Now, as you see, I've got it all put together. Now, this will only go in one way. It doesn't go in this way. It'll only go in this way in this particular brand. Put it in and push. That's all there is to it. Now you have a nice cable that isn't dangling, and you know what to do with it. Simple. Now, the only thing I will tell you is that when you're doing this, disconnect your battery first, because if you do that while the battery's still connected, it's going to slam your brakes on, and I'm not sure you'll get them undone. So there you go. Pretty simple. I'll just connect that to the battery when I finally get to that point in what I'm doing here with this thing. I'm all done with that.